Hey, what is going on? So this is your stimulus check update information. I want to try to get you caught up on a lot of the new updates that's happening. A lot of new things are coming out. It's coming out fast. A lot of new states are getting on board with the stimulus payments. So a lot of new information that's coming out, and I want to get you caught up on all the details. So Missouri rebate programs for seniors. Missouri's also has a rebate program for seniors and those with disabilities. Renters can get a maximum of $750, while homeowners can get up to $1,100. Individuals need to be at least 65, while those with disabilities need to be at least 18. Also, a single filer's income must not exceed $27,000 or $29,000 for the household. So this again is one of the states that got a ton of money from the Federal Reserve or federal government from the American Rescue Plan. So they're turning around and taking that money and they're giving it out to the people in that state. So what is the future of the child tax credit? For now, the monthly credits will end in December of 2021. However, lawmakers are in the works of trying to extend the benefits to make it a permanent expansion. President Joe Biden is seeking to keep the enhanced credit parts of his infrastructure package in the coming years. It's nobody's plan that this will exit for just to 2021. So the child tax credit is going to extend through December, and then it's going to end, and then they're going to give you the rest of the money in the month of, I think it's March of next year. Now, in the new plan, the new budget plan, they're going to try to extend out that through the year 2025. So Pennsylvania rebate program. Meanwhile, the state of Pennsylvania has a rebate program for property tax and rent. The max of benefits is $650, but supplemental rebates could go up to $975 according to the Pennsylvania Department of Revenue. To qualify, you must be 65 or older. Widows must be at least 50, and those with disabilities only need to be 18. In addition, the annual income limit is $35,000 for homeowners and $15,000 for renters. The deadline to apply is December the 31st. So President Biden injects new momentum in the filibuster fight. This is trying to get this new bill passed through the Senate. So it says progressives are feeling emboldened after President Biden backed fundamentally changing the filibuster, adding a jolt of momentum into the enhanced Senate stalemate. Biden's comments made during a CNN town hall came after weeks of activists and liberal lawmakers feeling frustrated that Biden wasn't leaning into the fight against the Senate rule, which is a major roadblock for many of his administrative priorities. The remarks don't automatically change the math problem. Democrats don't have 50 votes for change to filibuster right now, but they are at least a sign of growing pressure in the Senate Democrats to reform the rule. They said, we think this is a huge step forward and obviously the game changer. A spokesman for the Fix Our Senate told The Hill, it would be a big disappointment if he made those comments at a town hall and didn't follow up with them. I think the expectations and hope is that he follows up with the significant pressure, public and private. It says Biden has long appeared wary of nuking the rules of the Senate, where he served for decades, that frustrated progressives who worry that without nixing or at least significantly changing the filibuster, which necessitates the 60 votes for most legislation, much of the party's agenda is dead on arrival in the chamber. Right now, the Senate needs 60 votes. And then they have 50 votes for Democrats. So there's 50 Democrats in the Senate, and they need another 10 of Republicans. And if they can't get 10 Republicans on board with any of the bills, then it doesn't work. They try to use this filibuster where they say, okay, one time a year we can use this reconciliation, and now they can say, okay, 51 votes is all we need to get a bill passed. I think that's what they're trying to do, and they're trying to get this moved out of the way. So Republicans, for example, blocked a revised election reform bill this week and are opposed to block a voting rights bill named after the late Rep. John Lewis when it comes to the floor as soon as next week. Bipartisan talks on issues including police reform, immigration reform, and expanded background checks have also unraveled as Democrats have struggled to come up with a deal that could get at least the 10 GOP votes needed to break a filibuster. So Biden had previously embraced the idea of talking filibuster, where senators objecting the bill must speak continuously from the Senate floor, but he went significantly further during his town hall in Baltimore. It says, I propose we bring the back now immediately, Biden said about the talking filibuster before adding. But I also think we're going to have to move to the point where we fundamentally alter the filibuster. Biden pointed to the recent fight over the debt ceiling, where the Republicans threatened for weeks that they wouldn't help advance a debt hike before backtracking and providing 11 GOP votes for a short-term increase. If that gets pulled again, I think you're going to see an awful lot of Democrats being ready to say, not me, I'm not doing it again. We're going to end the filibuster, but it will still is difficult to end the filibuster beyond that, he said. He added that he was open to fundamentally altering the legislation filibuster, including on voting rights and maybe more. Biden's remarks won immediate praise from the progressives and activists. So the progressives are going to be AOC, they're going to be all those people from Minnesota, Ilhan Omar, and then the other progressives in the House. They like to see it. So they're glad to hear Biden call to bring back the talking filibuster. If Republicans want to block erroneously popular policies like protections for our freedom to vote, they should have to hold the floor and do it in a public, said Senator Jeff. But the remarks don't immediately change dynamics within the caucus. So what they have to do is to get rid of the 60-vote legislative filibuster or change it in any way. Democrats need total unity from all 50 of their members, plus Vice President Kamala Harris, to serve as a tiebreaker. So Joe Manchin, Simeon from Arizona are opposed to nixing the filibuster, and Manchin in particular has voiced opposition to the idea of passing a carve-out that would exempt specific issues from the 60-vote requirements. So they have two Democrats that are opposed to this. They don't want to put this in, and they don't want to have this filibuster happen until they want to have 60 votes. And I think that's good, because if you get the 60 votes, then it means it's a majority of the people in the Senate, whether it be Democrats and then you have some Republicans. I don't think it's good you have a 50-50 vote. I think it's not good. I think they do need that 60 vote, and that's what they're looking for in getting that move forward. Will this get the more stimulus checks? Will this get the stimulus moving forward? It could possibly get the new bill passed using this, but they're going to have to maneuver some things to try to get this bill done in the House and get it over to the Senate.
Children understand that much better than some of our colleagues on the other side of the aisle, in fact. So this will build back better, achieves better future for workers, their families, and their children, creating good paying jobs, giving a tax cut, a big tax cut to the middle class, lowering costs for families, and making the wealthiest and corporations pay their fair share. So this legislation will be paid for. In fact, it may be more than paid for. Again, it's transformative, it's historic, it's life-changing, and it will pass soon. Again, everything that the congressional Democrats do is our title for the people. But sadly, Senate Republicans continue to stand in the way. Yesterday was such a sad day. Senate Republicans voted to aid and abet the most dangerous campaign of voter suppression since Jim Crow, as they blocked a vote on the Freedom to Vote Act, hurting their own constituents and dishonoring the sanctity of the vote in our Constitution. The stakes could not be higher. State lawmakers have introduced 425 voter suppression bills in 49 states in the 2021 sessions alone, and they must be overturned, and this legislation would do that. It would not only end their voter suppression laws, but it would end their vote nullification laws. They're there to overturn the results of an election. Really? House Democrats have passed H.R. 1, which is now the bill that I mentioned in the Senate, the Freedom to Vote Act, as modified in the Senate. It's a good bill. H.R. 4, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act. And today, when I leave here, I'll go out this door and go to the 10th anniversary of the MLK Memorial dedication. MLK Memorial, 10 years it's been. Imagine, Martin Luther King was 58 years ago, nearly 60 years ago, when he stood near that place and talked about justice and democracy and the beautiful speech, I had a dream speech, a fierce urgency of now. Now Martin Luther King is there on the mall, as John Lewis called it, America's front yard, with Washington and Lincoln and Jefferson, presidents of the United States, and Reverend Martin Luther King. So we'll go down there and then honoring Dr. King, of course, being inspired by his work and words to protect the ballot. Meanwhile, here on the Hill, the Select Committee on January 6th continues its work this week unanimously on a bipartisan basis, voting to hold one of the past president's advisors to contempt for failing to comply with congressional subpoena. The committee is seeking information from Bannon that is central to the investigative and legislative purpose to investigate the January 6th domestic terrorist attack that was intended to interfere with the peaceful constitutional transfer of power, and then see what legislation is necessary that springs from that. According to published reports, Bannon had specific knowledge about the events of January 6th before they occurred and had multiple roles relevant to the attack and very outspoken about it. Today on the floor, the House will vote to approve this contempt resolution led by the committee to find the truth. Okay, so everything that, again, we've got everything the congressional, the sanctity of the vote, the assault on the Constitution, and meeting the needs of the people. We have a busy few days here. Any questions? Well, because they take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution of the United States. The genius of our Constitution and of our founders was the separation of power, checks and balances. If, in fact, you want to negate the ability of one check of another branch of government over another, then you are undermining the Constitution. So this goes beyond Bannon in terms of its importance, and you would think that if they take an oath to protect and defend the Constitution, they would vote for the system of checks and balances. Well, that's one of the options, that's for sure. For the last couple of days, just to answer your question, the last couple of days, we're narrowing what the possibilities are as we see what we need to cover, because the bill will be paid for. And so what are the choices that will be made? So we met yesterday morning to narrow what needs to be done, and the chairman of the Finance Committee, Mr. Wyden, and the chairman of Ways and Means Committee, Mr. Neal, have been working to that end. We had in our House bill, which I was very proud of, an increase in the corporate rate and an increase in the capital gains, and that it was a very well received proposal because it wasn't punitive. It was fair. But we'll see what survives, prevails. Well, my preference is to follow the cooperation that the Senate and House come to. Yes, Jen. Next one is a woman no matter who.
So yesterday morning you said some of the reporting about what was in and out of the bill was not accurate. Is that because this bill is still in flux, and does this have to be pre-baked? Does everything have to be nailed down with the Senate and with Manchin and Senate?
Whatever it is you think I said, what I was saying is that instead of covering what is in the bill, you all seem to be on a jag about a few people. 96% of the House and Senate Democrats support the president's proposal. You would never know that to see the reporting in it. But that's your work. You do yours, we do ours. You couldn't possibly misrepresent because it isn't done yet. And it will be, because now we have to narrow the scope, and we're in the process of doing that. Our agreement is that we will have an agreement that we will pass both houses. Yes, ma'am.
How critical is it to reach an agreement on a framework by tomorrow? Leader Schumer says he wants to get this done by the end of the week. Are you on track for doing that?
We've always been on track for doing that. The House has been on schedule. We have a goal. We have a timetable, we have milestones, and we've met them all. And this is one.